I don't want to say it's natural, but I think there's sort of an inbuilt desire in most people to, to explore and different things like that. And like, I mean, we're drinking now, like there is an element to alcohol which makes you feel good. There's
Yes,
an element to all
absolutely.
these other things that make you feel good. As a married man, I'm sure you could say there are sexual things that make you feel good,
Absolutely.
Like,
Yes.
there's all these things that we have which make us feel good, which make us feel fulfilled to an extent, so I think it's quite natural that we sort of explore that. We get a first taste of it, and we realize, we get pleasure out of these things. One of the best quotes I ever heard was that sort of in society we've lost track of. We're not seeking happiness anymore. We're seeking pleasure.
Yeah.
The problem with pleasure is it's really brief, and it feels good in that
Absolutely.
moment, but then we want more of it.
It's
and so we've got to
incredibly
keep
brief.
looking for it in other places. Whereas I think that to find happiness is a lot more about finding contentness, and to find happiness in what is, not what could be. Whereas pleasure is sort of, really finding happiness in what could be and what the next could be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely spot on. That's why I think teens is such an important thing. The formation of teens is such an important thing but at the same time, and I kind of mentioned this with Simon, I'm going to mention this with you. I think there's a stigma that when you mention alcohol, there's this thing with alcohol and Christianity, it's like they're mutually exclusive things.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's come from, but the moment that you say, yeah, I'm Maranatha Catholic, I go to Mass all the time, but if somebody sees you with alcohol in your hand, it's like you've committed the most mortal of mortal sins.
Yeah.
And I think that we've done it wrong in trying to just avoid it,
Yeah.
not really talking about it.
That attitude is it's a very Australian attitude. It's a very English attitude as well. So there was a Spanish mate of mine who was saying that first time he came to Australia, he's like, your relationship with alcohol is so weird.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean? And he goes, you guys drink to get smashed.
Yeah.
And that's the culture. That's the drinking culture. He said, in Spain, you go out, you have a few drinks, but if you ever get to that point, it's like your night is ruined. Like that's the mentality. If you get to that point, your night is ruined. Like why would you be vomiting in the gutter? Why do you want to do these things? Like a good night is where you're buzzed, you're energized, you're all these things, but you're still in control. That's a good night. And so I think that's why that we have, I think those cultures that associate a real strong negativity with alcohol. And look, alcohol is something that we have to be really careful about. But at the same time, we look to it like in our faith, there is an element where alcohol is something which is important. The wine is consecrated. The first miracle involves alcohol, and it's not making less of it; it's making more of it. So, so I think we've got to look at these things. That there obviously is something there that is good. I think alcohol can be a great social lubricant. It can be all these different things, but I think that at the same time, I think that it's like in our context, the reason it's so stigmatized is because we've absolutely butchered what it is and what it can do.
That's actually a valid point. I think that's spot on.